If your first FIFA was FIFA 16 or later, you may see this card and think nothing of it. He has good pace, you think, but everything else is pretty bad. 75 finishing, 3-star weak foot, 47 balance? You figure he'd be good for maybe a week or so before you discard him. However, if you played FIFA 14 or 15, you know exactly what kind of monster this guy is. Barbo is one of the legends in Ultimate Team folklore. He could single-handedly dominate an opponent regardless of how good they were. Other gold cards, informs, icons, it did not matter. This guy was a one-man wrecking crew. The reason I bring him up is because these guys that are low rated but still some of the best cards in the game just don't exist really anymore. The most recent card I can remember that was like this was Kipembe from FIFA 22, an 83 rated gold card that was able to stay in a lot of teams up until around the spring. But since around FIFA 19, there haven't been a lot or really any of these low rated meta gold cards that you could have in your squad for virtually the entire year. I mean, sure, you got players at the start of the game that are overpowered for a couple of weeks or even maybe a month, but then they get replaced because we'll have had 47 different promos by then. You might also have the odd person that sticks with a player because of an emotional attachment, Marcus, but I personally want to see more people that stumble upon a card that just feels like a 99 overall. Annoying Mouse is a great example. He uses Sorlot, and some of the clips it's ridiculous. Look at this. I don't know how we got the ball to dip, but like other things that turned me on, I'm not going to question it, I'm just going to accept it. In my opinion, this is what Ultimate Team should be about. Finding these obscure cards, realizing they are some of the best in the game, using them for nearly the entire game cycle, and then forming an emotional bond so strong that you start following them in real life and then buy their kit. Unfortunately, this just isn't really possible anymore, at least not on a wide scale. First of all, the power curve gets increased way too quickly because of all the promos like I mentioned earlier. So far this year, we've had 11 different promos. Do you want to know how many promos we had in all of FIFA 17? 11. Also 11 promos. In 3 months, we've already had the exact same amount of promos this year as the entirety of FIFA 17. For the last few years, we get bombarded with a stupid amount of promos, and it leads to an oversaturation of players, to the point where the majority of the cards are under 100k, and about half are literally discard value. Now, you may think that's a good thing, and that makes sense, right? There's a lot of players to try, they're at a cheap price, it's gonna be great. It's not great. For one thing, there are just literally too many players, so it's nearly impossible to actually try them all out. There's new players every week, a new promo every other week, and you genuinely just do not have time to properly test these cards. The positive to less promos, though, is that the threshold for what defines a good player is actually lowered a little bit. So even though there might be less cards in the game with less promos, more of them will actually become usable or even meta, and we'd have more time to properly test them. Along with that, the power curve would not be increasing so quickly, and you wouldn't need to log onto the game every single day in order to not fall behind. But sadly, even if the player pool was fixed, there's still another big problem, and that's that the game is too competitive for these gold cards. The game modes in general are just incredibly sweaty. I mean, Division Rivals from Division 6 and up feels infinitely worse than any Foot Champs game, and Foot Champs still feels like Foot Champs. You get good rewards and you get them immediately after completing your games, so of course it's going to be ratty. Now, I don't have a problem with these game modes being sweaty. They give out great rewards. Of course that's going to lead to rattiness, but there is not one single alternative casual game mode where you can try out new formations, new tactics, and most importantly, new players. With a more casual game mode, you could just try out new players all the time and actually have more fun when doing so, since results won't matter nearly as much. Plus, that opens up more cards that you can use, because the cards that seem good but maybe aren't quite exactly meta would still be a viable option. I mean, you could try running a Rivals game or two with this Sane card, but it's very obviously not going to go well, and who do you even link him to? I know I just said that results don't mean everything, and that's still true. However, if you're losing every single game because you're trying to link the Sane card with bronzes and silvers, how do you even tell if that Sane card is good or not? Regardless, we all know that some people would still find ways to just crap on this card, right? 77 balance, this guy's like a one-legged chair. And that's another thing that no casual game modes have led to. People thinking that some decent usable cards are just not good at all. I still remember seeing this Smolarek card for the first time in FIFA 23 and immediately thought he just looked cracked out. But then someone commented, 3-star, 3-star, sad face, and it got 412 upvotes. Jesus Christ, I can't even imagine what they would have thought of Smalling, the greatest Ultimate Team center back of all time. Nope, not fast enough and only 60 agility, moves like a truck, there's no playstyle. So you have too many promos that are oversaturating the market and not giving us enough time to try out new players. You have a horrible balance of game modes that discourage us from trying these new cards in the first place, and you have very few players worth trying. But even if you did find the cards worth trying, you know, like the 3 or 4 from every promo, it's unlikely that you'll be able to afford them because everything has become untradeable. In order for most people to try out the cards that are worth millions of coins, they're gonna have to pack them. And yeah, no, you're not gonna pack them. While having millions of coins in previous FIFAs did help you, you didn't need them in order to actually do well. You could build 100k, 50k, even 30k squad builders and still absolutely dominate everyone. First owner and untradeable squads are very fun and I respect them, but what happens when one of your players falls behind the power curve or you just start hating one particular player? Hugo Sanchez, I swear to God, this man loves to sabotage me. He just can't wait to ruin the attack. In old FIFAs, you could just replace them with another option that only costs 10,000 coins, but now you're essentially stuck with a team that can only be upgraded if you have 2.5 million coins to buy Mbappe, or you pack... Makes me chuckle every time. Again, you're not gonna pack him. With less promos, we'll be able to use these gold cards longer and actually try out the promo cards that are released. Then you could use these cards in a sweaty game modes because the 82 rated golds could still perform just as well, and then with a casual game mode, you could use more fun cards that are still considered usable. You also wouldn't need the 2.5 million coins to buy Mbappe because this guy, the greatest Ultimate Team card in history, only costs 10k. It is time to make gold cards great again, and I'm starting with this Malin card. Oh yeah, the gameplay is still bad. Yeah, never mind, it won't matter.